If it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, should have seen it in color. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but you can't see what those shades of gray keep covered. Should have seen it in color. Seen it in color. Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kids TV and the House Light Kitchen Sinks. Now, before I get into this morning's video, if you will, y'all jump in the comment section. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. Let me know your city, your state, your hood, your set, whatever it may be that you're representing, and let us know if you're the man or the woman that you say you be. Now, I know sometimes people get a little agitated, people get a little entertained. You know, it's a mixture of emotions, if you will, when I come on with the singing intro. But see, I've been locked up in the eastern hills of Kentucky, brother. When you come down to Memorial Coliseum. See, the eastern hills of Kentucky, so we didn't always have BET. We didn't always have Fuse. We didn't always have a VH1. Guess what we had? About 3 or 4 country music channels. So it wasn't fair, but that's just what it was. So it's in a sense, it seems as though you were forced to know country music. You were forced to memorize certain country songs, if you will. Gotta start my car, my battery's getting ready to die. And so every once in a while, you know, these songs pop out in my mind, and I've done this song as an intro before. My thing is, let me get my affairs in order, you all. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared. That was not professional. But nevertheless, this particular song fits the story that I'm going to tell you all. Y'all kick back, man. I'm giving y'all some of this midnight love, man. This is midnight love, man. I know some people, damn, Ken's really been hitting us with the videos, man. Man, I'm going to keep putting these videos on all of y'all's asses. Every one of y'all's asses, I'm going to keep putting these videos on. Pause. Double pause. Matter of fact, pause is not, that don't even work. Because that just wasn't appropriate to say. So let's do the manual rewind. Since I'm not editing my videos or some of my videos, we do the manual rewind. That just didn't sit well to say that I'm putting it on all of you all's asses. Basically what I'm trying to say is, I'm going to just continue to hit the people with these videos until YouTube recognizes me and we get to a larger scale. But I understand life is, you know, it's stairs, not an elevator. Y'all rock with me this morning. Really, it's evening for me, but by the time this video gets uploaded and things of that nature, it'll be the morning time. Got an individual, man. Big Wallace, man. Big Wallace, black dude. Big Wallace was OG. This particular time, he was about 40-something. Big Wallace he was slightly taller than 5'11". See, everybody wants to try to accuse me of saying that everybody in the video is Ken's. Why is everybody in the video 5'11"? That's how I got the self-proclaimed name 5'11", Mr. 5'11", rather. Actually, I guess it was kind of anointed. I say that it's self-proclaimed, but really, that name was somewhat anointed to me. Y'all get the gist of what I'm saying. Everybody's not 5'11" in my videos. It's basically, you know, the point that I'm trying to make. Big Wallace was about 6'1". He weighing in at about 300 pounds, though. Big Wallace was a penitentiary gorilla. At one point, he was a gorilla, man. Like, he was not to be fooled with. Not to say that he was to be fooled with at this particular juncture, but when he was younger, come on, man. You better not run up on Big Wallace. Like I said, dark-skinned dude. He had a big beard, but he had a gray beard. But like I said, he was only in his 40s. His hair was gray. You could tell that he had, you know, he had traps. He had, you know, you could tell that he's worked out, but over the years, he had developed a gut or whatever. But again, he was not to be fooled with. Big Wallace had been locked up for some time, and he had a 10 flat, which means you do 10 years straight. And at that particular, once you do your 10 years, you go up for parole. You have an opportunity to get out. So he had 10 flat, but I believe his sentence was like maybe 20 years or something like that. Now in the state of Kentucky, you can kill out a 20-year sentence in 13 years. It's less than that now, but back then it took about 13 years to complete a 20-year sentence, and then you go home. Big Wallace, man, he had been a model inmate, if there's any such thing as that. He had been a model prisoner. Didn't catch any write-ups. He had taken multiple classes. See, every class that you take, typically the classes are 6 months long, or 3 months long, rather. You go once a week for 3 months. And at the completion of the class, they give you 90 days off of your sentence. He'd been taking his classes, but being that he had an 85% sentence because it was violent, let me paint the picture for you all, because a lot of times people like when I give them a depiction of exactly what happened. Big Wallace had gotten into it with some individuals one night, and they had robbed some people. So when they went in and robbed them, they took whatever they took or whatever, and Big Wallace had a knife. Could have shot the dude, unalived him, or severely injured him, but he didn't. But he took a knife and he cut the dude's ankle, his Achilles. So when the individual got up and tried to run after them or whatever, he couldn't, because his Achilles were torn, they were cut. Got back to whoever he got back to. Big Wallace was arrested along with his co-defendant. They stayed solid. They didn't talk. Police brought him in, tried to interrogate him. We know this. We know that. We just want your side of the story. It's the only opportunity you're going to get. Man, give me a lawyer, man. Best thing you can do. Never talk to the police. And now I'm not giving you all advice as far as criminal, advice or anything of the sort. Never talk to the police, because they're going to twist your words. The best thing that you can ever do, an attorney. I don't care if they tell you facing 1,000 years. What, you think I'm in this room? You really here to help me? Nah, man, give me an attorney, man. Don't say you weren't there. Don't say you don't know nothing. Don't say nothing. Attorney. Fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. That's what Dave Chappelle said on the Dave Chappelle show. Fifth. I plead the fifth. Plead the fifth, man. Give me an attorney, man. I don't got nothing to say to you. I don't care if you guilty as all outdoors. Police are not there to help you. They're there to, once you give a statement, it's recorded, and they're going to use that statement against you. That's why they're required to read your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. The right. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to. So these things, they're telling you these things. They try to speed through them and say them. Don't talk to the police, man. Attorney. Fifth. I plead the fifth. It's the best advice I can give you, man. That's what Wallace and his co-defendant did. Still ended up getting 10 years out of the ordeal, but it could have been much worse. He's in prison. He's going to church. Like I said, he's taking his classes. Now, the classes are not going to affect him doing 8.5 years. He's going to do 8.5 years on that towards the 10-year sentence that he has. Actually, I'm sorry, I said 8.5 years. He has to do the 10 flat. My bad. I apologize. Haven't been in the system for a long time, and that's a great thing. He has to do 10 years regardless, 120 months. But he still has the remainder of the time left, in which that good time, the 90 days per class, would come off the back end of that. It's kind of confusing, but nevertheless, he was going to have his sentence shaved down after he completed his 10-year sentence, or mandatory minimum to see the parole board. Like I said, he's doing everything he's supposed to do. He's not getting into any trouble. He's not gambling. He's not running stores. All of these things he did early on. But when it got closer to him going home, his family, they had stood by his side. They had left him for a little bit, but they came back. And him and his wife, they were actually married. They had kids together. Unfortunately, the wife's, I believe, father had passed away and left them like 400 G's. Between, assets and insurance policies, it was like 400 G's, man. OG Wallace, he loved his wife. So I'm not going to sit up here and say, well, he was just doing that because she had the money. No, he loved his wife. He definitely loved his wife. That was just something that was just unforeseen because there was no sort of sickness. It was just, boom, he was just gone that day. Just gone. Lives, man. They got this money. OG Wallace he's living, and you'll see me say Wallace sometime, or you hear me say OG, because I always refer to him as OG Wallace. Sometimes just OG. He's balling in the penitentiary. When I say balling, not, but wifey sending him $100 every week. That's what you spent back then. That was the maximum you could spend. If you spending $100 every week and you go to the commissary and you got your bag, they give you like a net bag. You see what I'm saying? You use it for your laundry, use it for your commissary, and you walk stomping through the yard, you got your bag. Okay, OG Wallace, I see you, boy, you balling. Dumbass penitentiary shit. People are impressed by somebody walking from the commissary with a big bag. Okay, I see you. Let me hold something. You walk through the yard, stomping through the yard like this, you got your bag. The crazy things you see in the penitentiary. Then you hear somebody say something crazy. Things that are accepted in the penitentiary that you, on the streets, you wouldn't hear anybody say, or it wouldn't be accepted, by chance if you did hear somebody say it. Somebody's cool with him, though. Go ahead on, Wallace. You act like you balling. Big Wallace, well, yeah, I guess you could say Big Wallace. Wallace was weighing in at about, this particular time, about 260. Like I said, he's stomping through the yard. Go ahead on, Wallace. Acting like you balling. Big booty motherfucker. Oh. That is the infinite pause. How you gonna call a big man a big booty? But in prison, you hear these sort of things. Not saying everybody does it. Not saying everybody plays the sex games, jokes, or whatever. But you do hear these sort of things in penitentiary. Y'all rock with me, man. Go ahead on, Wallace, big booty motherfucker. Crazy, man. So I mentioned Wallace is doing everything that he can do. And his people came to visit him one weekend. Actually, it was on a Saturday, so one Saturday afternoon. In the penitentiary, man, visitation day. Some people call it just regular visit. Some people say, man, you going to the dance floor, whatever you want to dub it as. It's a beautiful thing when people take time out of their busy days, out of their busy schedules to come and visit you in jail and prison. When you're in the belly of the beast, the bottom of the barrel. People come to see you. They love you. They want you to do well. They want you to do right. They want us to do right. Wifey comes up. She brings the kids. They got 3 kids. They had just moved back because they had moved out of town. They came back in town. OG Wallace hadn't seen his family, and he lost his family for a while. Hadn't seen his family in forever. For you all that have been locked up, you know that feeling of they call your name Kins. Report to visitation. It's a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful sound. And then there's individuals that never got visits or rarely got visits. And you have that bitterness inside of you, like, you know that you placed yourself there. You know that it's your fault that you're in prison. But I'm still a human being. I still have emotions. See, a lot of times people always, that's their answer. Well, you shouldn't have went to jail. You shouldn't. There's a lot of things we shouldn't have done. And don't get it misconstrued, because that is correct. We shouldn't put ourselves in predicaments in which we're breaking the law and going to jail. Absolutely correct. But at the same token, there's so many other things in life that we shouldn't do and we do, and we're forgiven. We have another opportunity. So when you're sitting there and it's just like, man, my friends, all the people I helped out, all the women I did things for, my family, whatever, ain't nobody fooling with me. But sometimes, man, you just getting, it's karma. Sometimes you was just a rotten, SOB on the streets. And so it comes back to you. Wallace had to go through that period. I've gone through that period. Well, people wasn't really rocking with me when I was locked up. Why? Because you want to keep getting locked up. So evidently you like it in there. So since you like it so much, have at it. And it was a terrible feeling. It was a terrible, you just feel so ashamed of yourself and you feel like a total, like you just let everybody down that believed in you. Wallace's wife, family start to come back around or whatever. They got the money. She's making sure that he's $100 a week every week. Like I said, he's stomping through the yard every single week. Thing about Wallace, he was kind of rambunctious. He was a little, if I want it, I can buy it. I can. I'll buy you. He let the money go to his head. It wasn't even his money. I guess technically if he was married but theoretically it really, I guess legally it was some of his money, but it wasn't technically his money. But wifey came through for him, man. Looked out, shared with him, made sure he was super straight. He's going up for parole very, very soon. So he's making sure that there's nothing that he's doing that's could remotely get him jammed up. He's trying to go home to his family. Got this officer, man. It's always an officer. Maybe two, maybe three. But you got this officer Pritchard. He became a sergeant. But he started as an officer and he came in and he was just gung-ho, man. He was gung-ho. Read the handbooks in prison. They give you a handbook and they tell you to read that handbook. Ain't nobody really read, man. Nobody reading this motherfucking shit. They throw the handbook. But see, you have officers like Officer Pritchard that'll read and study that handbook from front to back. And he'll hit you with a write-up and you don't even know that you did anything wrong. But the CPP code 326.08 says this. And it supports his write-up. And it writes you up, man. And it goes in your file. So when you see the parole board, they see this bogus write-up, but they're not looking at it as a bogus write-up. They're looking at it as you're in prison and you're still catching write-ups. You haven't learned your lesson. And you got this bogus officer giving people these bogus write-ups, tickets, and it's just not right, and you can't really explain it. You try to, but then they're going to say you're not taking accountability. Come back and see us in 36 months. Prison's a dirty game. Locking people up is the ultimate hustle. It's damn near like having requiring people to have car insurance, man. It's the ultimate hustle. The state's going to pay for each individual that's locked up every month. You got private prisons. I speak about this all the time. Locking people up is a business. I'm not talking to people, not talking about the individuals that are out here just, robbing people, raping people, doing things to kids and elderly people and shootings. I'm talking about individuals that child support, man. In Kentucky, they'll lock you up for child support and hit you with a sentence enhancement. Seen a dude go to trial, try to, argue his case in front of a jury, thinking that the jury was going to understand. The jury came back and gave him a year, thinking that they were giving him the lesser because he was facing 1 to 5 years. So they give him a year. But then when they go to the sentencing phase of the trial, which is essentially, it's like the second part of the trial, and they see his criminal history, they have the ability to enhance his sentence all the way to 20 years. And they enhanced his sentence to 15 years because of his past, crimes that he had already done time on for some child support. They gave him a year and then enhanced it to 15 years. Man, locking people up is a business. You have private prisons, and nobody's going to tell me otherwise. I've four-time loser, man. Been in the system over 11 calendars. I know what this is about. These COs, man, they just hire you from the street. You ain't got to have nothing but a GED. Ain't nothing wrong with having a GED. Ain't no different really from having a high school diploma. So listen, come on, kids, man. I'm not saying it that way. You can have misdemeanor after misdemeanor, as long as you don't have no felonies. And they'll just hire you, and you can be a racist. You can be, either way it goes, you can be a racist. You can hate women, hate men, or whatever. And they're going to hire you in. And they have a code. They have a code like these officers on the streets, because a lot of COs, they really wanted to be officers. They just couldn't, they couldn't do it for whatever reason. They have a code like the officers to where we support our officers. It don't matter what I see you doing. That's why I don't really, it's hard for me to respect a correctional officer. It's hard for me to respect a correctional officer because you all see, even though you may be a cool correctional officer, you see what goes on. I'm just trying to feed my family. I'm just trying to pay my bills. Yeah, but you don't have to do it this way. The individuals that, man, I'm so mad, but I didn't realize I was going to speak about this tonight, but the individuals that, all of those correctional officers, and I think it was in New York, they unalived that black man. Was it Robert Brooks? And I'm sorry, I want to say it was Robert Brooks, but I could be wrong. But I could be right. And even when I'm wrong, I think I'm right, or I could be right. But even when I'm right, I could be wrong, but yet I'm thinking that I could be right. He's sitting on the table in the infirmary and medical, not even the infirmary and medical. His hands are behind his back, man. Y'all look it up. His hands are behind his back, man. You got officers that beat the living brakes off dude. He wasn't even saying nothing. Just stomped him. Stopped everybody sitting around. Nobody intervened to try to help. Nobody, nothing. Beat him to death. Literally. I seen one of the officers just got sentenced to 15 years. 15 years? Are you serious? 15 years? They gave him an opportunity to say something, to address the court, show if he was remorseful. Nothing. These are the type of individuals that you're dealing with. Police, Department of Corrections, correctional officers. So you got this Officer Dickhead. Is it Pritchard or Dickhead? Let's go with Officer Dickhead. He's one of them. Just picks with people. He was an officer, but then he goes a sergeant. But on his way up to become a sergeant, write-ups. Like I said, he knew the handbook. He just, well, come on, kids, just stay out of his way. How you gonna stay out of somebody's way, man, when he's gunning for you? He's gunning for you. Wallace is on visitation one day. I've seen more things pop off on visit. Like I said, that's the dance floor. You go to visit or whatever. They got Officer Dickhead, or I'm sorry, I ain't mean disrespect, Sergeant Dickhead. He's working visitation. You on visitation, you trying to have a good time with your kids, your family, or whatever. You got these officers just walking around, just mean mugging. Y'all been to visit people in prison, you know. If you've been to visit people in jail and prison, you know what I'm saying. You got some cool ones, but then you got some officer dickheads everywhere. Now he wants to move up and be a lieutenant. Then he wants to go up and be a captain. Then he wants to go up and be in internal affairs. Then he wants to go up and be the warden. So he's going to do whatever he can do. Make your time miserable. More miserable than what it already is. Wallace ain't bothering nobody on visit. Like I said, he's talking to his wife. They having a good time. They got vending machines. You can bring in money in Kentucky prison, so it has to be changed. So you got Ziploc bags. You might have $30, $40 in change. So, hey, baby, yeah, let me get a piece of pizza. Let me get a Mountain Dew. Let me get a bag of chips. And the kids want something, but everything has to be coins. You don't visit for 2 or 3 hours, man. Just having a good time takes your mind away from prison just for that amount of time that you're out, you know, on visit. But you got this RoboCop, silly dude walking around trying to disrupt everything. He comes over to OG Wallace's table. There's girls at the table. He tells her she needs to zip in, you know, her jacket up. She got like a jacket on. And I guess she's kind of, heavy chested or whatever. You need to zipping your jacket up, ma'am. Inappropriate. Now, she done already been patted down to come into visitation, searched. They've already observed what she had on. Wasn't a problem then, but it was a problem for him. It was a problem for this dickhead. I'm sorry. How could I? No disrespect, Sergeant Dickhead. So if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She's all the way up. He comes back about 10 minutes later and tells her she has to leave. The kids have to leave. Terminates the visit. Why, sir? I came and I asked you to zip in your jacket up, and that's inappropriate attire to have. But sir, no disrespect to you, but it's all the way up. I don't know how much, what more can I do? She was even pulling her shirt up or her jacket up like this. Like, sir, I'm not trying to, wasn't trying to hear it. OG Wallace, black dude, big black nigga. This is a white woman. Don't know if that had anything to do with it, but that's what it was, man. Y'all rock with me. OG Wallace intervenes. Mr. Sergeant Dickhead, Sergeant Pritchard. We're not trying to cause any trouble. I mean, she zipped her jacket up, like they let her in. We don't. She was like, I tell you what, I have a shirt out in the car. Can I just go change and put my shirt on? It's like a t-shirt or whatever. No, once you leave the facility, you're not permitted to come back in. CPP dot 308 subsection B/A/ says that once a visitor leaves the. I can understand that, but all due respect, Sergeant Pritchard. I haven't seen my family, my kids here. They just moving back into town. Matter of fact, they hadn't moved all the way back into town yet. They were moving back into town, but they hadn't gotten settled. So they done drove like 4 hours. They done drove like 4.5, 5 hours just to come and see me, and they got to drive back. So anyway, we're not trying to give you any trouble. I'm not gonna say it anymore. This visit is terminated. Man, his wife and kids leave, man. Kids ain't seen their dad in forever. Forever? Forever, ever. OG Wallace he's fumigating. Take a Southern Baptist preacher in the country. One of them preachers that be handling rattlesnakes. I don't even think it's Southern. Whatever the it's not Baptist, but preachers that be handling the rattlesnakes. I have the faith that this python, if this cobra bites me, I'll be okay. I'm mattering a dog in Hubcap Hickory. That's how OG felt, man. But he know he's about to go up for parole, so he's trying to keep his composure, but he just wants to. His officer really was Sergeant Dickhead. I'm sorry. He really thought he was tough, man. He wasn't quite 5'11", but he was close to it. I think it might have been an issue. He wasn't quite 5'11". Had a bald head, wore a goatee, kept his boots shiny. Uniform was always neatly pressed. He was kind of sloppy built, to be honest, man. No, he ain't had no women in high school, man. He was a nerd. But he felt as though he was somebody now because you work at a prison. No disrespect to anybody that works at a prison, but I'm saying this was his demeanor. I'm all that because I work at a prison. I can write you up. We got a problem? We got a problem, inmate Wallace? OG Wallace having to bite his tongue. He's like probably 5-6 months from going up for parole. After all this time he done 9.5 years, close to 10 years straight. He can't trick his time off on this Sergeant Dickhead. They end up having words. OG Wallace really didn't even say anything that was too significant. He just spoke his piece. Sergeant Dickhead writes him up. Disobeying a direct order. Inciting a riot. He goes to the hole for that. He literally goes to the hole for that. Inciting a riot? How you gonna get me for inciting a riot? Because you was insubordinate. That old police ass talk. You was insubordinate to an authority figure in front of another inmate. So they can get you for inciting a riot. He goes to the hole. Ain't never had a write-up in all these years. He ends up getting out. They convict him on like a lesser offense. I think it was like disobeying a direct order. That's what they convicted him of. If this causes me my parole, your ass is grass. That was his people around him knew. He's not telling everybody, but that's what it was. Time goes past. He goes up for parole. Out of all the years that he had done and didn't have any write-ups, any sort of infractions, they focused on this one write-up and gave the man an 18-month setback. Come and see us in 18 months with no write-ups. Show us that you can do this time without catching a write-up. See, that's what I hate when individuals are locked up and they'll be like, oh, well, he's in jail and he's keeping his nose clean, or he got into a fight. What are you going to do? You have to defend yourself. Sometimes you're going to have things that take place. What are you supposed to do? It's jail. It's jail. And they know that. But it's a business and they want to keep you incarcerated. 18-month setback. I'm going to get him. He really wants to split this off, this Sergeant Dickhead's wig. But now I'm going to do it the smart way, because if I put my hands on him, then I'm going to end up getting 5-10 more years, probably more. And if I unalive him, I'm never going to go home to my family. I'm trying to get home to my family. I'm trying to get home to this money. They done, like I said, the family done moved all the way back at this juncture. So he's telling wifey, listen, man, I need you to get word to one of my partners. Tell my partner exactly what happened. Wifey came every week. So it was an ongoing thing. It's not like it's just happened after one, weekend visit or whatever. And basically what he was telling, or blatantly what he was telling his wife, whatever it cost, we're going to find out. We're going to find out where Sergeant Dickhead lives at. And I want y'all to ride on this fool. But y'all be careful. Because we understand that they encourage COs to carry on the streets. It's not too hard to find out where somebody lives at. It's easy. I wouldn't recommend this. I'm not an advocate for violence, but I'm simply saying what happened, man. They find out where Sergeant Dickhead lives at. 3 goons, 3 guerrillas. They hop out of the bushes on him. He don't have a clue that they're even remotely. He don't have a clue. Don't unalive him. But we're going to send a message. There was no, none of these things were communicated over the phone, letters, or anything. So there was never any proof whatsoever. Allegedly. I'm not even going to say this part is alleged, because 3 guerrillas beat the brakes off of Sergeant Dickhead at his own house. Beat the living brakes off of him. When I say beat the brakes off of him, I'm talking about, man, they broke his ribs, collapsed lungs. He had staples in his head. He had fractured. His back was damn near broke. Can't say that OG Wallace had something to do with it. Allegedly. And that's what ended up happening with Sergeant Dickhead. He missed work for a long time. He was gone for a good 6 months before he came back to the yard. When he came back to the yard, they put him on like light duty. Wasn't really around the inmates too much. It was speculated, but nobody knew exactly who did it. Now, if you knew, you knew. The point that I'm making is when you are in a position of power, when you think that you have the upper hand, and you may have the upper hand for that particular moment, just go to work, do your job, and go home, man. You don't got to try to make nobody's life miserable. I understand you want to move up, but that don't mean at the expense or just treating other individuals like dirt just because they're in this particular situation and environment. You have to go out into the community. You have to go to the gas station, the grocery store, take your kids to different, events if you have kids, and you out with your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever the case may be. These same individuals that you treated so bad, you're gonna run across them. You bet your bottom dollar you're gonna run across them in the community. Some people just, oh man, I ain't worried about that, I'm out now. But then some people, nah, I remember dude. I remember him, and I'm gonna get him. Y'all think it's sweet. Some of you COs really think that it's sweet. Sergeant Dickhead, he thought it was sweet. He thought it was sweet till them gorillas jumped out on him. You didn't have your panic button at your house. See, in prison, you can talk crazy to people, and if they run up on you, or they try to assault you, or they attempt to actually do assault you, hit your panic button, your signal 7. Signal 7 in Unit AA. Signal 7 in Unit AA. Ain't no Signal 7s on the streets. They beat that boy. What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? Like I said, if you knew, you knew. Allegedly, OG Wallace put a beating on that boy. I believe that the Sergeant Dickhead somewhat knew, because he never messed with OG Wallace again after that. Never. He did the 18 months due to this Sergeant Dickhead's write-up, bogus write-up, and he ended up going home to his family. Be mindful, man. Be mindful. Sometimes those who finish first, or those who are first, shall finish last. Man, Real Kids TV. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And be sure to hit that post notification. Anytime I bring you this action and this heat. That's probably how Sergeant Dickhead was getting beat. Oh, I'm sorry. You're amongst the first to receive. Real Kids TV.